Did a video on this, but I did such a crappy job on my cell phone and I missed a bunch of stuff. I'm doing another one. It's Mariner 40 that I converted to electric. Luckily, the way I did it, everything worked fine right from the get-go. So these come with a hatch already made for the airplane. That's so you can put your ballast in there. Most of these seaplanes turn out to be tail heavy, so you can put all your battery and stuff here, and then they tell you just tape that on. So for the conversion, of course, this is the battery hatch, so we got a Dubro hatch latch put in there. This was solid balsa, so I hollowed it out. And I got the entire hull glassed with fiberglass resin just to keep it watertight, seal the wood. Some areas I use like a thin CA glue that's pretty old, so I use that to seal the wood where I don't want to be trying to sand down a bunch of resin to get it fitting and then ending up with bare spots. So around here I just used CA glue. Made this little framework around the entrance of the hatch. This acts like a dam. And it's only about an 1/8 inch high. It's a lot thicker here. I used 1/4 inch, I believe. Triangle stock all around the inside. I guess there's something to glue onto. Because removing your battery, you're going to break it off if it's just glued to the 1/8 sheet. Inside, turn the light on here. I made the battery tray. Each bulkhead has a little hump over the area. I don't know if you can see it here. It doesn't show it here. This area here, the bulkhead is, this one's solid, but it has a high hump side that goes over the keel there. Sand them down flat. I made triangle stock mounts to go on this bulkhead here for the battery mount. Then I got a stopper in here to keep it from sliding forward. And I can't get the camera down, but because the strap is at the front of the battery, keep the battery from flopping up and down the back, I made this tab right here. So the battery actually slides underneath that, and it's glued to the motor post. And that way when you're doing rolls and stuff, your battery's not going to be clunking and flopping around inside. And I put a piece of foam padding like this one. It's a clear plastic foam that you can get electronics in. It doesn't absorb water, so that's why I use that. And everything inside, as you can see, is glass coated. The motor is mounted. I'm not going to take it apart. I do have another video. I might try to slip that in there, where I just laminated some plywood, square block, screwed that to the firewall from the inside, then I had another spacer block that the motor screws to from the front, from the motor mount into the block, into the big spacer block that I laminated with plywood. And I used a hole saw to hollow it out. For weight savings, it works great. You could use standoffs, but they'd be so long. This is way more solid, and it's a lot cheaper than spending money on Chinesium stuff and waiting for it. The propeller is a 12/8 3-blade, obviously, master air screw. I did have to do a little balancing on it, of course. I just got the wires running down for now, and I sealed everything up with silicone. I did do the silicone wing saddle thing. Helps keep the water out quite a bit. You can also put a light film of Vaseline on there. That'll keep the rest of it out. using high-tech HS425 ball bearing servos, and I got a Aerotronics 2.4 receiver in there. That old Aerotronics is going to be the most solid radio I ever owned. And you can still get the receivers and stuff for them. Yeah, so I did a few changes. I put the goldenrod in there, solid wire, and I chop up pieces of this inner rod and use that to guide it, because I find that expands and contracts too much. You take off and everything cools off, and then you're trimming. It's just, on a summer day, it's a pain in the butt. But I also have other uses for it, like making antenna direction guides. And there's the one straight back. Works good. Can't think of too much else I changed. These windows are actually painted on, and I used some acetone to get the proper gap. I might flatten the bottom of these out a bit too. Look kind of kooky. The motor pod in these planes, they got a side hatch and a top hatch. Top hatch is for your getting at your throttle servo, which this doesn't have. The side hatch, I just took two pieces of long aileron stock, cut them about about quarter of an inch thick, I guess, and then just sheeted the top, covered it. That allows some air to get in to cool the speed controller that's in here. I got the wire running down the same way they tell you to do up the throttle servo wire. I'm probably going to get a 30-second ply and just make a cover for those two wires, pretty that up a bit. But on the bottom, I got an outlet there for the air going into the pod. But you can't really do anything to cool the battery. But I'm running a 46 E-flite motor, and with that propeller, there's not much load on the motor. It's underpropped for the motor. It's perfect for the airplane. So I got 4-cell 5,000 milliamp hour battery packs after a 10-minute flight, which is easily with one touch and go. Easy 10 minutes. You're down to storage voltage when you're done after 10 minutes, and the battery's lukewarm. So this setup for this airplane is just perfect. I got a red brick Hobby King 70 amp speed controller. Later on I'll probably pick up a 60 amp E-flite controller for it. So with that battery pack, this airplane balanced perfect, pretty much. It's a smidge on the nose heavy side, but it's within the 1/4 inch of the recommended balance. I could, if I want to, later on, I just make a control line style weight box and put it in the back. If I wanted just to bring the CG aft. But so far she flies beautifully the way it is. Didn't have to balance it, and the propeller is spot on. It's perfect. Does nice round loops and everything. I didn't put a spinner on because I like the idea of the cool air getting in there. And of course I got a relief cutout in the bottom of the cowling for it. Now this kicked around for like 15 years. It was in my father's, part of his collection, so I ended up with it and decided to, because the two-stroke engines tend to load up conch out sometimes if you're forced to wait and taxi for boats or whatever. I don't usually fly it if anybody's around. And then when you hit the throttle or ease on the throttle, they just load up and quit. Electric, you don't have that problem. Plus, you don't need the fuel box. So, grab, go. I take 4 batteries and I'm good for an hour or so flying. Although I'm probably going to pick up a 5th battery. I did convert my sea lane. I'll probably do a video on that. But a lot of the things I did in the sea lane I did here. Something else I did to make this hatch come off easy. I took 30-second plywood and just cut these little tabs and glued them on to the hatch on the back. They're so thin they don't interfere with anything, but you could countersink them if you wanted into the cowl. This one I didn't have to. But just sticking out, as you can see, just enough so your fingers grab them. Otherwise you're digging at the edges trying to get that on. Yep. So now you can just grab it real easy, both sides, and it comes off no problem. And that's about it for the Mariner 40 electric conversion.